What's up YouTube? Welcome to CodAffection. This is my fourth video in the series of Angular material tutorials. In previous three videos we have created a form using Angular material and we have submitted that form in order to insert a new record into Firebase DB. Finally, in last video we have created a complete Angular material data table with sorting, paging and filter operation. All of these videos links are given in video description. In this video we are going to discuss about Angular material pop-up. Using Angular material pop-up dialog, when user click on this create button, we will open a pop-up like this. Inside that we will have a fresh form in order to insert new employees. This form is created in first video and we have submitted this form into Firebase DB in second video. In this video we will open that form in Angular material pop-up window. In order to close this, you can click this button here. In order to update an existing employee details, here we have the button. Click on that. It will again use the pop-up dialog. Inside that we have a form populated with current employee details. We can make the required changes here, then just click on the submit button. Finally, we will implement the delete operation. For that, you can click on this delete button here. If you confirm the operation, corresponding record will be deleted. In the next video, we will create a custom confirm dialog. So we will replace the default confirm dialog with a customized Angular material confirm dialog. Before starting this video, I would like to ask you a favor. If you found this video helpful, please thumbs up this video. If you are new here, please be subscribed to this channel and click on the bell icon to get notification about my new videos. Most of the video lesson here also has a written blog post. You can find the link in video description. You can grab code from there as well. So here we have the same project from previous tutorial. Before continuing with this project, let's have a look in our Angular material documentation. Go to components, then pop-up and modals, then dialog. So here we have the dialog overview. Click on this button in order to see how it works. In order to work with this mat dialog service or pop-up dialog, we have to import this module here, mat dialog module. So first let's do that and then we can discuss properties one by one. So back to the project. Then open that specific module which is created for importing material modules. So here we have the material module.ts file. So here it is, mat dialog module. Let me add the same in both arrays here, both imports and exports. Currently we are running this application in my browser here. First of all, I will show you how to open the form which we have already created when we click on this button here. We will open the pop-up dialog. Inside that we will show the form. So let's look how we can do that. So back to employees component here. First of all, I will add a click event for this create button here. So open the corresponding HTML here. Then I will add the click event to this create button. Now we have to define this function inside the TypeScript file here. So we have to create a function on create without any parameter. Inside that we have to open the form dialog. In order to work with Angular material pop-up window, we have to import these two classes here. They are mat dialog and mat dialog config. This mat dialog is the primary class and this class is to configure that mat dialog window. Okay, now we have to inject this class inside this constructor here, dialog, which is of the type mat dialog. Now back to the onCreate function here. Now inside this onCreate function we have to open employee component HTML. Inside that we have designed the form for insert and update operation. In order to open that form in a pop-up dialog or pop-up window, we have to do this. Here we have the property dialog. From that object dialog, we just need to call the function open. Inside that we have to pass the component name or class employee component. Now in order to open a component in dialog window, we have to add that component in app module.ts. So here we have the main module app module.ts. Inside that we need to add one extra array here, entry components. We will initialize that with an array containing employee component. Now let me save all of these modifications here. Then back to the application. Now click on this create button here. So here we have the pop-up window. Inside that actually we have the employee form. In order to see the form, we have to increase the width of this model. In order to demonstrate that, I will just do that with inspect here. We just need to increase the width here. I will set it as 600. Here we go. So along with the width, we have to configure few more parameters about this pop-up dialog. So let's look how we can do that. For that, we will be using this class here, mat dialog config. So first of all, I will create an object of the dialog config class here. Inside that, first of all, I will set this property as true, disabled closed. Means it will disable the feature of closing the window by clicking outside the window or by pressing escape on your keyboard. Then we will set autofocus to true. Means first focusable element inside the window will get the focus. And finally we have set the width as 60% of the whole window. Now we have to pass this config object as a second parameter here. Let me save this, back to the application. Now let's try this create button here. Here we go. Now before showing these form controls here, I want to make sure that they have their default values. For that, we will call the function which we have implemented in our second video tutorial. So this function initialize form group will set the default values to form controls. Now when we submit this form, corresponding employee record will be inserted into Firebase DB. Along with that, we have to close this pop-up modal. So let's look how we can do that. In order to close that dialog after form submission, we have to write code inside employee component because form submission is done inside this employee component. So first of all, we have to have a reference to this modal pop-up. So first of all, I will import the corresponding class here, which is mat dialog ref from Angular material. Now I will create a dialog reference property for this employee component inside this constructor here. So here we can do this dialog ref, which is of the type mat dialog ref for component employee. When we submit that form, we will call this function here on submit. Now in order to do procedures related to closing that pop-up dialog, I will define a function here on close. Inside that, first of all, we will reset the form and we will initialize the form controls to their default values. And finally, we have called this function close from dialog reference object. Now we just need to call this function on close from the form submission function on submit. So here we go. This dot close function can be called. Now let me save all of these modifications here. Then back to the application. Now let me try to insert a new employee record here. Click on create button here. Now let me fill new employee details. Now submit the form. So here we have inserted the new record and we have closed the pop-up dialog. Newly inserted record can be seen here, Fiona Green. So here we have done with insert operation using modal pop-up. Now let's do the update operation. For that we have to click on this button here. We will open the form by filling this corresponding employee records inside that. Now let's look how we can do that. And here we are inside the employee list component HTML. For the corresponding edit button here, we have to add a click event. So here is the edit button, this one. I will add a click event for this button. When we click on this button, we will call this onEdit function by passing raw object. Inside this raw object, we have the complete properties related to employee that we have discussed in previous tutorial. Now let's implement this function onEdit inside the TypeScript file here. Function name will be onEdit. For this function, we have a single parameter raw. Inside this function, first of all, we have to populate the corresponding employee details, which we have inside this raw object. Now we have to fill this employee details inside this form here. When we click on this create button, it will be an empty form. When we click on this edit button here, it should be populated with corresponding employee details. For that, I will be creating a new function, populate form in employee service. For now, I will just call that function here with this raw parameter. Inside this function, we have to populate form group properties. So here we have the employee service. Here I will define the function populate form with single parameter employee. Now in order to populate the form, we have to update this form group here, which we have created in second video tutorial, form with corresponding employee values. For that, we just need to do this. We will call this function set value from form group. Inside this function, we have to pass that employee object containing employee details. But here we have a problem. Inside this employee object, which is passed from this employee list, we have an additional property than which we have defined inside this form group here. All of these properties are there in the object which we have passed from this employee list. The extra property is this one, which is department name, which we have added inside this ng on it lifecycle hook here in order to display corresponding employee name for a given department key. So while populating the form using this function here, we have to omit that property before setting form group object. For that, we will make use of Lodash, which we have already installed. So here we have the import statement with alias underscore. Now we can do this. We just need to call the function omit from the Lodash, omit. And as a first parameter, we have to pass the object employee. As a second parameter, we can pass the property which is to be omitted. So I will copy the property name from here, department name. Let me copy this and pasting here. Now back to the edit button, click event. Here we have populated the form with corresponding employee details. Now we have to open the Angular pop-up like we have done inside this onCreate function here. So I will just copy this here and pasting inside this function here. Let me save all of these modifications here. Then back to the application. If I want to edit this employee details here, just click on this button here. So here we have the employee form filled with corresponding employee details. Now after making required changes for update operation, same submit function can be called, which we have defined for insert operation in the employee component here. Now we want to modify this function for update operation also. For that, we just need to do this. We have added this if clause here. That means this insert operation will be done if the value inside the key property is null. Otherwise, we will do the update operation inside this else clause here. For that, we just need to call the function update employee, which we have already defined in second video tutorial. Instead of calling push function from Angular file list, we can call the update function. If you have any doubt, you can check the second video tutorial. So everything is ready for update operation also. Let me save all of these modifications here. Then back to the application. I want to edit this employee record here. Click on this edit button here. I will add the suffix updated. Click on submit. So here we have successfully updated the employee. You can see the updated employee name here. Now let me change that back to original name. Now I want to customize this pop-up window here because we have disabled closing of this pop-up dialog by pressing escape or clicking outside this pop-up dialog. So we have to add an extra close button here in order to close manually without updating or inserting new employee record. Along with that, we have to have a pop-up dialog heading displaying insert employee or update employee based on the current operation. In order to display both heading and close button, we will be using mat toolbar, which we have used for this Angular material heading here. Okay, so back to the component HTML, which is here, employee component HTML. So first of all, we will add a mat toolbar element here. Inside that, first of all, we need to add the title for pop-up dialog. So here we go. We will display either modify employee or new employee based on the condition here. If the value inside the key property, which is the hidden control in the form, if it is not a null value, we will display modify employee, otherwise we will display a new employee. Now after that, we want to show the close button to close the pop-up dialog. So here it is. Inside the button, we have a material icon. We have set tab index as -1 so that the first element which get focused after opening the pop-up dialog will not be this close button. It will be the first name itself. For that purpose, we have set tab index as -1, and finally we have added this click event with on close function, which we have already defined inside this TypeScript file here. Now in order to position this heading and close button in left and right respectively, I will add a span to fill the space in between them. Now let me save all of these modifications here. Back to the application. Now let's try create button. Boom. So here we have the customized pop-up dialog. In order to dismiss this pop-up dialog manually, you can click this button here. Now let's try the edit operation here. Instead of new employee, here we have modify employee. Now I want to customize this close button here with few CSS rules. So back to project, then open styles.css. I will add few CSS rules here. Save, then back to the application. Now let's try once again. So here it is. Now here we have the final operation, which is delete. We can implement that using this trash icon here. So back to employee list component HTML here. Into the delete icon, we will add this click event on delete. Into that function, we will pass the corresponding employee $key value. Now let's define this function on delete in corresponding TypeScript file here. On delete with a single parameter $key. Inside that, we have to do the delete operation. For that, we have already written a function in the service class that you can see here. This one, delete employee. We just need to pass the corresponding employee $key value into the function. So here we go. This dot service dot delete employee, into that function we can pass this $key here. Let me copy this and paste in here. Since delete is a loss of data, we have to confirm the operation. So I will add this if clause here, confirm. Inside that, we have to pass the message, are you sure to delete this record? If user confirm the operation, we will do the delete operation here. After delete operation, I want to show a notification saying deleted successfully, like we have shown for submission of the form with green message. We have done that green success message inside this notification service here. So I will add one more function for delete notification here. So here we have the function one with a single parameter mst. Instead of success class, we have added one clause here. Now we have to add the corresponding CSS class inside the styles.css here. Here we have the CSS rules for success message. Along with that, I will add some styles for delete message also. Now let's call this one function from employee list component here. So first of all, I will create a notification service object inside the constructor here. Now we have to add the corresponding import statement for the service class. So just use the shortcut, hold Control, then press period. Then click on the appropriate import statement, then back to the function here. We just need to do this dot notification service dot one function can be called. So here it is. First of all, I will add an exclamation mark here, then deleted successfully. Let me save all of these modifications here. Then back to the application. I want to delete this employee, delete Kelly. So click on this trash icon here, then confirm the operation. So here we have successfully deleted that specific employee. We have shown the notification message here. In next video tutorial, we will replace this default confirm dialog for delete operation with a customized pop-up confirm dialog using Angular material pop-up. So this is how it looks like. So please watch next video. Also, you can download this project source code from the GitHub link given below in video description. If you found this video helpful, please thumbs up this video, and for more awesome videos like this, please be subscribed to this channel CodAffection. Please like and share this video with your friends and colleagues so that they can benefit from this. Have a nice day. Bye.